Elmwood High, the shadows stir. The old clock ticked, 3 p.m., school's out. But Elmwood High felt different, colder, darker, like something watched from the shadows. I hurried down the empty hallway. My footsteps echoed. Each one sent shivers down my spine. The air grew heavy, hard to breathe. A cold spot sent goosebumps across my skin. I turned the corner, and there it was, locker 237. The rumors, the whispers, they all started here. The locker room was always cold, but today it felt like ice. I could hear whispers, faint, coming from the showers. They seemed to be calling my name. "Hello?" I called out. My voice echoed back, hollow and alone. The whispers grew louder, closer. I backed away, my heart pounding in my chest, then silence. I ran out of the locker room, my breath catching in my throat. I had to tell someone, but who would believe me? Old Man Withers, the janitor, was mopping the floor. He looked up, his eyes filled with a strange sadness. "You shouldn't be here," he rasped. "Not after dark." I told him about the whispers, the cold, the feeling of being watched. He sighed. "This school has secrets," he said. "Secrets better left buried." He wouldn't say more, but his eyes held a warning. Elmwood High wasn't what it seemed, and I was in danger. The library was dusty and silent. It was one of those places that seemed to have been forgotten by time, a relic of the past. The air was thick with the scent of old paper and the faint mustiness of neglect. Shelves lined with books that hadn't been touched in years, maybe decades, stood like silent sentinels, guarding their secrets. The only sound was the faint creak of the wooden floorboards beneath my feet, as I walked deeper into the labyrinth of knowledge and memories. I found the old yearbook, 1964, the year it happened. It was tucked away on a high shelf, almost as if someone had tried to hide it from prying eyes. The cover was worn, the once vibrant colors faded to a dull, lifeless hue. As I pulled it down, a cloud of dust erupted, making me cough and blink away the particles. This yearbook was more than just a collection of memories. It was a portal to a time long gone, a time when the halls of this school were filled with laughter and life. The pages were yellowed and brittle. Each turn felt like a delicate operation, as if the slightest misstep could reduce the fragile paper to dust. The texture was rough under my fingertips, a stark reminder of the passage of time. These pages had seen so much, held so many stories, and now they were about to reveal one more. A story that had been buried, forgotten, but not erased. I turned to the senior class photos. Faces stared back at me, frozen in time, each one a snapshot of youth and promise. There were the jocks, the cheerleaders, the nerds, and the rebels. Each face told a story, each smile a promise of a future yet to be written. But among these faces, one stood out, drawing me in with an almost magnetic pull. And there she was, Sarah, beautiful, smiling, but her eyes held a depth that was almost unsettling. They seemed to look right through the camera, through the years, and into my very soul. There was something haunting about them, a sadness that belied her radiant smile. It was as if she knew something that weighed heavily on her heart, something that she couldn't share with anyone. Her eyes held a deep sadness. It was a sadness that spoke of secrets and sorrows, of dreams unfulfilled and promises broken. It was a sadness that seemed out of place in a yearbook photo where everyone else was so full of life and hope. What had happened to Sarah? What had caused that sadness in her eyes? I felt a chill run down my spine as I pondered these questions, and then I saw it. A tiny detail that I had almost missed. It was so small, so insignificant, that it could have easily been overlooked. But once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. It was a clue, a piece of the puzzle that was Sarah's story. And it was about to lead me down a path I never expected. A tiny drop of blood. It was barely noticeable, just a small dark stain on the corner of the photo. But it was there, a stark contrast to the otherwise pristine page. How had it gotten there? Whose blood was it, and what did it mean? These questions swirled in my mind, each one more unsettling than the last, staining the corner of the photo. It was a small detail, but it changed everything. This wasn't just a yearbook anymore, it was evidence of something dark, something sinister. The bloodstain was a silent witness to a crime, a cry for help that had gone unheard for decades. I felt a sense of urgency, a need to uncover the truth, to find out what had happened to Sarah. A chill ran down my spine. What happened to Sarah? The question echoed in my mind, growing louder with each passing second. I knew I had to find out. I couldn't just walk away. Not now. Not when I was so close to the truth. I had to dig deeper to uncover the secrets that had been buried for so long. And I had to do it before it was too late. And what was the secret of Locker 237? The locker had always been a source of rumors and speculation. Some said it was haunted, others said it was cursed, but no one knew for sure. All I knew was that it was somehow connected to Sarah and to the bloodstain in the yearbook. I had to find that locker, to open it and see what secrets it held. Only then would I be able to piece together the puzzle and uncover the truth about what had happened all those years ago. I showed the yearbook to Principal Thompson. He barely glanced at it. "Just an old school legend," he said dismissively. "Nothing to worry about." But his voice wavered. His eyes darted nervously around the room. He was hiding something. I could see it in his face. But what and why? The more I learned, the more questions I had. Elmwood High was like a puzzle, and I was determined to solve it. Detention. Mr. Davis's class, empty except for me. And then, I heard it. Scratching sounds, coming from locker 237. I slowly approached. My hand trembling, I reached for the latch. Click. The locker swung open. Empty. But the scratching continued, louder now, more insistent. And then, I saw it, scratched into the back of the locker door. "Help me." It was Sarah's handwriting. I knew it. The air grew colder, the scratching stopped, and then I saw them. Two figures, standing in the doorway. Their eyes glowed with an eerie light. They were students, but their uniforms were old-fashioned, from another time. They didn't speak, but their eyes held a message. A warning. I wasn't supposed to see this, I wasn't supposed to know. They were the guardians of Elmwood High's secret, and they were angry. I ran, through the empty hallways. The ghostly figures followed, their eyes burned into my back. I had to escape, had to understand. I burst into the library, and there on the dusty shelves I found it. A hidden compartment, and inside a diary, Sarah's diary. The truth spilled out, a tragic accident, a cover-up, and a restless spirit trapped within the walls of Elmwood High. Sarah's diary revealed everything. She had discovered a terrible secret about the school's founding, and they silenced her. Now, her spirit and the spirits of others who knew the truth haunted Elmwood High, seeking justice. I knew what I had to do. I had to expose the truth, clear Sarah's name, free the trapped spirits. But how? The answer, I realized, lay in the principal's office. There had to be evidence. I snuck into the principal's office. It was late. The only sound was the ticking of the old clock. I searched desperately, drawers, filing cabinets, and then I saw it. A loose floorboard. Pried it open, and there it was. A box, filled with old documents, proof of the cover-up, proof of Sarah's innocence. This was it. The key to breaking the curse of Elmwood High. The truth came out. The newspapers called it a scandal. The town was in shock. But for Sarah and the others, there was peace. The hauntings stopped. The air felt lighter. Elmwood High was forever changed. But I would never forget. The whispers, the cold, the ghostly figures. Elmwood High's secrets might be buried, but the memory of that terrifying week would stay with me, always.